for him. But next off is going to be Jisu versus Meiko. Meiko, support player, already having taken down one mid laner. He's now looking to take down a top laner here. Jisu with such an exciting finish. Actually, both these guys had incredible finishes to their games yesterday. Jisu with a turret dive on PoE, had like 3 health left when he wins. And Meiko, the minions assisting him in his 1v1, able to finish it off against Frozen's Lux.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Azir pick for himself was struggling a little bit in the game, but especially with actually last hitting, was definitely not something Meiko was doing too well with, but he managed to get the all-in, which is
he had the sick
important.
Azir mechanics.
Exactly. Who needs to last hit if you can just win through all innings?
Just got to last hit the player.
I'm excited though with Jisu because I think, like again, we talked a little bit about this yesterday with the introduction of his team, like very much focused on like these bruisers, you know, these carries that can all in up in the top lane, and I really want to see that from him.
Yeah, so do I. And gotta love seeing all the fan signs in the background there. A lot of Chinese support here. People showing up to support Meiko.
Yep.
And tons of fan signs there in the crowd. People pretty excited and already getting the respect ban of the Azir. That's gotta feel good.
I like it. I like the Pantheon ban as well. Jisu used that one so successfully.
Yeah.
Well, I say successfully. Towards the end, it was successful. It was actually struggling quite a lot too.
He won.
During the game, he definitely
is 100% win rate.
It's true, and now it's banned away from him. Jace ban as well against the top laner. Let's see, what else crazy top lane picks could be there? Like, he's a person who plays a lot of Irelia.
I mean, you can go something like Aurelia. Something we've seen actually a decent amount of in the past is Olaf, as far as looking for a full-on all-in. Obviously, that does really telegraph what you are trying to do. I do think that you can still play some of the AD carries up in the top lane. I know in the past we've seen things like Quinn. I'm not sure how effective it would be in this actual meta, but Quinn with Electrocute does have quite a powerful all-in here as well. But Jisu may have prepared something else. You can still look for things like the Nasus, which is unbanned. Urgot could be pretty interesting. He is hovering it, has not locked in, but Urgot might really struggle to close the gap, and the Ghost would kind of make sense with that if he is going to go for it.
Oh, it's so hard though, because if you finally close the gap, then you have to win the all-in, but instead we get that Olaf you mentioned here.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, Olaf, the interesting part about this is, although you know he's going to all-in, that's really his only chance. He does have a few opportunities to do it. I would say level 1, if you can actually get them far enough up, you can win all-ins very easily. Level 3 is very powerful. And then your last chance is probably going to be 6 with that ultimate. But we should see Meiko playing around that. He needs to play defensively. He needs to actually give respect to the fact that if Jisu hits an axe, you better be backing up.
I mean, you can save your stun as a Syndra at least before level 6, where Olaf can just say, nope, I don't care about that one, and you can stop his all in. And the thing about this 1v1 map, it is a fairly long lane, and if you are pushing in the Olaf, you do open yourself up for him popping that Ghost and just chase you down the lane, and you can't get on the turret to stay alive.
It'd also be very interesting to see what mastery he's going to take, because I don't think it's necessarily super obvious. Comet has been pretty popular in the top lane as far as a poke mastery, and that is actually what it's going to be. So Airy for Syndra, it will be the Comet for Jisu on this Olaf, and we'll have to wait for the secondary runes. But he could actually try to play this more of a harassy style. Maybe he has a different idea about it, because the masteries do give you some options, and if you're doing a Q-Max, if you consistently hit those axes, you could theoretically win through poking them out, and maybe even just on farm.
Yeah, the problem always for Olaf is just running out of mana, you know, in these kind of situations. But
have I got a mastery for you?
There is the mastery.
Mana flow ban.
Gives you a free, you know, spell right there. Corruption Potion coming in as well for Jisu right here. Knows that he's going to take a lot of poke damage in return, and also Corruption Potion for the potential all-in is, of course, powerful. Meiko is much more about just staying far away from Olaf. You have the ability to poke him over and over.
It's going to be pretty interesting to see how he wants to play it out. Also, if he wants to try to play around any sort of item timings, right? You know, that is another thing. Do you try to go for it right away? Do you try to keep them out in lane? Do you look for a powerful buy to go for it? Because the longer it goes, you do kind of expect Meiko to itemize probably relatively defensively. You could go a mana regen route, but I don't think it's really needed if your opponent's only win condition is something like that straight up all in. Things like Seekers can be extremely effective.
And obviously one thing Olaf can do if he's willing to spend the mana is actually just axe the wave and try and push it in. But again, it costs a lot for him, and it's much easier for Meiko to just kind of sit back, last hit with his range melee attacks, and then just try and poke Jisu.
Yeah, and Just honestly, anytime you're walking up for the melee last hits, you're going to be taking damage. You're going to be taking both, which is what makes it so much harder to actually maintain a really high farm count in one of these range versus melee matchups. Look at Cannon. The Cannon's having some problems there. Does get a bit unstuck, but
ooh, good one.
So far, so good. I mean, he's been hitting his axes on Meiko, and he's obviously prioritizing that over the push. He's trying to use every single axe on Meiko, and if Meiko does get too low and he is pushed up, as you said, you can go for that all in. You have the exhaust to slow him down. You have the ghost to speed you up.
Exactly.
There is certainly potential.
And that's the thing, again, this map is much longer than, you know, a standard mid lane where you're sitting with the Syndra, and normally you have time to go back to a tower. Not in this case here. So Meiko is actually giving the push over to Jisu, and again, Olaf, early levels, super, super strong. A lot of damage. You really got to respect the all-in from him. Good damage in return, though, from Meiko here.
Yeah, that trade a little bit rough. Obviously, you can get some health back with your W up there if you're going to go for that, but Jisu has not yet leveled it. He put a couple points in the queue, which is going to make quite a bit of sense, but up in farm, pushes it in. It's looking good.
Really like the fact he gets the wave into this turret here. Cannon minion just died. Some of the minions are dying as well. Meiko's only sitting on 12 CS at the moment, and he's going to miss a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, he is really kind of struggling to pick up this farm. He's actually getting very low and is out of mana here too, so even though Jisu did get his back canceled, doesn't seem like he actually needs to go home just yet, and is looking to be in a really good position. Maybe he can just straight up win a farm out here.
I mean, he's getting a lot of value just by the fact he's actually keeping up in mana for his axe spamming. Against Meiko, he even gets a heal now. It's a little bit more for himself.
And Meiko has the wave pushing against him, so he's got to be scared. Like, the wave is putting him in a dangerous spot. If an axe connects here from Jisu, I think he actually could look for an all-in right around this, but has not been able to connect any of the last couple, and this is probably the last chance for really an all-in at this level. If you hit level 5, you can look for it.
That one.
Moved up pretty far.
Yeah, he needs to be careful. We have to remember he's picked Ghost, which will not help him stay alive if Meiko is actually going all in against him, where Meiko on the other side with Exhaust and Barrier both really work well in combat. So Jisu needs to respect that. Also the fact he was not level 6 yet. Not a good trade from him.
I mean, that's the importance of hitting those axes, right? He was actually winning out quite heavily. He had hit quite a few in a row. He misses 3 or 4 straight axes onto Meiko. That means he loses control of the minion wave. That means his opponent can actually push forward and look to push him out, and does end up with a very even farm, but he has at least been able to tie that up, and Meiko is kind of going for the more offensive options so far. A Kindle Gem is pretty interesting buy here for Jisu, but it is something that's fairly efficient if you can actually be able to spam out with the CDR. Might have expected honestly something different. I wouldn't have been surprised to see something like boots and long swords or boots and a null, but we'll see how effective it does end up.
So much damage. I think he just wanted CDR and HP. Honestly, he's like, you know what? Just giving him stats right now. Obviously, again, boots is super valuable for him for the all-in, but he knows with the Ghost he will be able to stick to Meiko, and Meiko won't be able to escape. Once again, Jisu trying to just get the wave under this turret here, see what he can deny.
He's not been able to hit axes for a while though, and as long as Meiko keeps dodging them, he's going to be in a good spot. That's really the only thing that Jisu has to actually fight back.
And also 2 stacks already used on his Corruption Potion. Meiko still sitting with 2 health potions on his side. Of course, mana is a thing you always got to look for with Syndra here. A lot of damage once again.
And he's getting really low. Jisu probably just having to go back to base here again, but he has pushed in. He's going to stay around. I mean, if Meiko thinks he has base and comes out too far, I actually feel like Jisu could have stayed in the bush there a bit longer, and perhaps if Meiko moved forward for the last hits, when he's out of mana like that, you can pop the ult and look for an all-in. But Jisu's still confident he can win on farm, still confident he can poke down his opponent, and Meiko, although he is low on mana, does have the mana flow band proc ready, which not only refunds the cost of your ability, but gives you the additional percentage mana back. So he is going to be okay for now.
So higher HP at the moment. Obviously, Olaf is okay being lower HP if there is a potential all-in. And Meiko needs to be a little bit careful because this wave is pushing towards Jisu, and Meiko is very far up the lane at the moment.
And that's why it's all just about how many axes can you dodge, because if Jisu had hit that one, if he hits one more, that can be what prompts the all-ins. But
he might look for it.
Has been very good at actually dodging out these axes, and I feel like, the ghost is popped. He's going to go for it now.
Fighting, it's all in. Meiko, very low on mana right now. Jisu's going all in with the ulti.
Oh, he missed the axe, but he got another health pack, and if he hits this one, he will win.
There's no mana, Meiko.
Oh, Jisu connects the final axe there, and Meiko bet it all on getting the health back. He tried to race the Olaf for the first health pack, but with Ghost up, Jisu gets there first. He uses the ultimate that goes to get the second health back at all as well, and barely able to outlast Meiko.
He was just waiting and waiting for that one, was dancing in and out of brushes. Yeah, hit some axes, missed some as well, but when he saw the opportunity, and that again is the scary thing about Olaf, is when he finally gets onto you, even if he's low HP, the amount of damage he deals, it's hard to do anything against it.
I mean, Meiko kind of gifted him the gap closer.
He did, of course.
He raced to that health back. Olaf is going to be there on top of you. That's what prompts the all-in, and when Olaf is in your face like that, it's very hard to actually outlast the exhaust to wait through that. He's already taken so much damage, and just going to get straight up run down.
And Meiko probably thought that if he took the heal, he would get enough mana to win the 1v1.
Yeah.
But the fact he didn't get it obviously meant he had mana to ult, and then we saw the little knockback after, which was not enough for him. Jisu was so low. We're literally talking like fraction of a second right there on who got that heal.
Yeah, exactly. If he had gotten either of those heals, he would have won the 1v1. It was extremely close, but bets it all on that, not able to get it. Very clearly was disappointed with himself. You can see on the reaction. And Jisu, cool as a cucumber, he's moving on again.
Second time where he ends up in a crazy all-in where he almost dies, but just wins. Pantheon, now Olaf, clearly happy playing the bruisers against some of these long-range mages or AD carries.
Yeah.
And right now, he is advancing to the semifinal.
Yeah, and it's going to be a semifinal against Bjergsen, who just took down FLICKR. So
another
that is going to be
maybe
pretty interesting. We might see another all-in. He's already been making short work of a couple of mage players. So well, maybe not short work, but he's been winning.
He's been winning, and that's all that counts.
He's got 2 Ws, even though he only had 2 HP at the end of them.
I really think, though, there were moments where he could have waited a little bit longer, you know.
Perhaps.
Bait a little bit from the brushes, but instead he went all in for that heal as well. And super, super close. Very fun once again. We've actually had some really good 1v1s where no one has just been super boringly just farming 400 CS. Like the Bjergsen FLICKR one was very back and forth, could definitely gone both ways, even though it ended with 100 CS.
Definitely been some good ones.